from the NFL Film Studios in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, here are your hosts, Steve Sabol and Harry Callis.
Hi, I'm Harry Callis, and along with Steve Sabol, welcome to This is the NFL. Today, we'll look at America's newest autumn ritual.
Harry, it's a phenomenon known as fantasy football. How does it work? Well, basically, a bunch of football fans get together and hold a draft. Each team owner selects a quarterback, running backs and receivers, a kicker, and a defense from the current NFL rosters. How well your draft selections perform in real life on Sunday determines whether your fantasy team is a winner or an also-ran.
In a few hours, this family room will be transformed into a smoke-filled conference room full of fantasy football league owners. It's draft night.
All right, for the Fantasy Football League draft, I just want to go over some of the rules and regulations here. Everybody's going to draft 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 4 wideouts, a defense, and a kicker.
Is James Brooks taken yet?
No.
I'll take that James Brooks, running back.
Next up in the draft is the California Raisins.
Montana looking for the quick throw. Throws complete to the right. He's the 40, he's the 30, he's the 20, he's to the 5. Touchdown 49ers.
My first pick will be Jerry Rice.
To some, the draft's a formal affair. To others, a family affair.
Now, real loud. Say it real loud.
In the late rounds, there's always one bozo who forgets to cross off a player already picked.
Next up in the draft is 3rd and long. You have 5 minutes. Dickerson.
Wait a second. Okay, I'll try Dorsett then. He's tired. Hey, he's legally get Russell when he's done.
Finally, these oddly named teams are all set, and it's time to play a little fantasy football. And what a fantasy it is. On one club, you could have Jim Kelly at quarterback, with receivers like Eddie Brown, Ricky Sanders, and Roy Green. And how'd you like to own this backfield? Bo Jackson and Eric Dickerson. You could even own the whole Bear defense. Everyone's living out their fantasy.
Come on, Herschel, big day, baby! You're on my fantasy football team!
It's great to have a fantasy, I think. If you didn't have a fantasy, you couldn't live, they tell me. So I think it's great to play a little bit of fantasy football.
It's great if you're having a great year because someone's in love with you. If you're not having a good year, they're pissed off that they drafted you.
Oh, I think they're great. I mean, it gives a fan an opportunity to really get involved with the statistical end of the game. And it doesn't really matter, I guess, if the team wins or not. It just matters how the player performs.
Hey, Boomer, with the year you're having, you're making a lot of fantasy owners happy. You want to tell them anything?
Someone made a smart choice and he owes me money.
You're on their team, and they want to tell you that, too. Hey, I drafted you last year, and you had a great year, or you had a bad year, and we dumped you. We're getting Sims this week or something, you know, so they have a good time with it.
Shotgun. I'd like to see a nice pass to Herschel here for a touchdown. He's got single coverage up there.
Fantasy football has turned armchair quarterbacks into armchair owners.
Touchdown! All right, 7 big FFL points. I got 4. Yeah, Laura, you got Doug Williams. Williams got hurt. I had to pick Laura.
Quick got hurt. You should have picked up Alexander. I know, I'm just thinking that.
If your mail's a little late, blame the Fantasy League down at the post office, as Monday mornings are spent adding up the points from Sunday with a sports page and score sheet. Fantasy football has gone high-tech. There are books on drafting strategies, weekly releases, and an officially licensed board game. There's even computer software to update scoring, schedules, standings, and transactions.
We estimate there's over 3 million people that play fantasy football, from a lawyer in Boston, a farmer in the Midwest, even Hollywood people. Thanks to our software, it'll standardize the scoring and make leagues pop up everywhere. We even contacted the Pentagon, and they were very enthusiastic about it because now troops in France, Germany, throughout the world can now play fantasy football.
Okay, now you're ready. Imagine you have the first pick. Who do you take? A receiver? A defense? Maybe Dan Marino.
Is by the rubber wee-wee sheet.
Well, if you're not sure who to pick, here's some advice from a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, take Jerry Rice for sure.